Welcome to lesson 3, generic subscript. Hopefully this lesson is nice and short. Let's learn how to make subscript generic. Welcome to Lawrence with Bob. Today let's talk about generic subscripts. Well, it's nothing more than subscript being on steroid. Well, nothing more than subscript being more generic, right? Well, let's talk about your past to appreciate our future, right? So this is what we've done in the past. We have weekdays, right? We did exactly the identical example we used last time. We have private var. We don't want anyone to touch this. You don't want to have two Mondays, right? Well, you should definitely love Monday because you want to work. You have 2 Monday, 2 Friday. Unfortunately, there's no Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for some reason. I don't know why. Subscripts. So what's happening is you are returning string value, and it was the only way you could do it before Swift 4. But now in Swift 4, you're able to return T. So what does that mean? You make a subscript generic. So this is there's a place for it. So one of the places I would use subscript is JSON file. If you know what JSON is, all right, just do your own research. You definitely need to know. By now, if you've been programming for 3 months in iOS development, you definitely know what JSON is, right? I'm not gonna go over. If you don't know about JSON, then just do your own research, please. So let's say we call it storage, and it's gonna be like a JSON file structure. And we have private var. We're gonna set it later. When is a string and then any. So what's happening? If you take a look at dictionary value, right? This is dictionary value. So string and any. So you can literally put any values. You could be a string value, you could be int value, you can be an array of an array, you could be just anything, right? So you have like so for example, you can have it will look something like this. The dictionary would look like this. Oops. Like this. Oops, I cannot copy and paste for some reason. Oops. Come on. Okay, here we go. I don't know why it didn't work out last time. Something like this. All right, we have this is a string refers to capital name population. Any refers to what's come as a what do you call it, a key and value. So Seoul, Republic of Korea, and the population. Okay, you get the point, right? You have a dot, you have a comma to separate from the dictionary one and then the rest. Oh, good. So we have a storage. And we're going to have an init method. And the init method is going to try to initialize the storage dictionary here. So also you're going to enter string and any. And then the self that stores the dictionary. Okay, all good. And then we're going to have so what's happening, you can do something like this. Republic of Korea, call a JSON file dictionary, you're entering a value of dictionary. And if you don't want to have, you can simply have the negative here. So you can simply do this way as well, which makes it more neat because you don't need to have dictionary, the word here. You could do that, okay? So this is what JSON file is. So you want to get the property of Seoul, you want to get the property of the proper capital, name, population, okay? All good. But now here's what's going to happen. So how do you access the property of Seoul in this case? How to do that? Well, in order to do that, you probably do public Korea, storage. Well, you cannot get the storage. Right, because here's why. Because this is a private var, and also even if you do storage, something like this, it becomes very, very tedious. It's not the best way to go about when it comes to trying to access the value. Right, here comes the subscripts. This is the time, again, as I said last time, if you are simply doing a task that is trying to get the value of a dictionary, yes, you may use subscripts. Okay, but anything besides, I don't recommend. This is what's gonna happen. Create a subscript function underneath, like here. Subscript T, you're gonna enter the value of the key, so it can be capital, name, population. Usually when it comes to JSON, the key is usually string, okay? So you can enter string value, and then you can return T question mark. Okay, why is it question mark? Because what if you enter Republic of Korea and then something like foot size, okay? You should definitely return nil, right? So you should want to return T question mark, and then storage, and then access the foot size, and as question mark and T. Why is that as? Well, you have to if you take a look at it, we have downcasting. Right now is any, That means you want to downcast it to the value to work with. So for example, this is what now a string value, but it has been upcasted to any. We talked about in typecasting before, right? Definitely should know about this. And then you want to do as question mark. Is it the T you want to work with? That means you got to define what T is later down the road, right? So is it the T you want to work with? If it's not the T you want to work with, return nil. If it's a T you want to work with, yes, return the optional value. So Republic of Korea, and you can do let's try this, capital, and it's going to return optional type. This is going to return optional type. It's going to give you an error for some reason. Here's why. Why is that so? Because you don't know what T is in this case. So what is T? So you've entered capital as a key, right? But you don't know what T is in this key. You're not really exactly sure what you're going to return. So as you know, the fundamental rule of Swift, you got to define what T is in this case. You're not able to define what T is in this case. You have to define it explicitly. So this is how to go about it. You have to define T like this way, string question mark. Okay, this is a T, all right? And Republic of Korea capital is a capital string value here. Well, let's take a look at it. Storage capital, yes, this is always capital. If you try to change the int right now, do you think it's going to return the right value? Probably not. It's going to return nil. Why? Is because right now T is expected to return int, okay? Should return int. However, if you do the storage.capital, and then it's going to compare, is it the int value? And as you know, downcasting may fail. If it fails, then it simply returns nil. Okay, there we go. So that's why I use string value. Boom. And the rest you can get it through right this way. Boom, right there. Korean name, and population int. That's it. That's how you work with JSON file in Swift. And if I were to work with JSON file in Swift, yes, I'll use Subscripts for this case. But again, overall, here's number one rule. I don't recommend using Subscript. Well, when I say this statement, this is like a half true, half false. Again, in programming, there's no right and wrong answer. There's always pros and cons when it comes to programming. So again, in this case, I'll use Subscripts, okay? Because yeah, JSON file, people know that you're trying to get the value out of something, just using the key value. Like, just looks like a dictionary. And people may even not know the dictionary or JSON file that you're working with. Yeah, I use Subscript for that because people are just so familiar with using dictionary. So this looks like a dictionary. So yeah, here we go. But besides that, if you're doing something more complicated, I don't recommend using Subscripts. Again, it's your job. So you got to know everything about Swift. And at the end of the day, it's your decision to make the right choice. And I'm not going to be there for you. I'm gonna just say what I would do, and then at the end of the day, it's your job. Okay, that's why you need to be so smart about Swift. That's why you need to know. You need to study so much about Swift. There's so much stuff to learn. Well, to be honest, I think I covered most of Swift in my opinion. I learned about pretty much the front features about Swift. Like I'm talking about object oriented. I'm talking about functional. All those things that make Swift what it is. But also these days I feel like I want to learn about compiler. I want to learn about like those deep stuff, like how to create a programming language, those stuff. But I should just focus on making a course because I think you guys want more from my content. I think you guys want me to focus on the iOS. Yeah, I should just focus on iOS. Maybe next time when I'm done with everything. When I cover React Swift, when I cover iOS development, maybe I study the internal part about Swift. But I just want to, I don't know, just random thought of it, idea. So see you guys in the next lesson. Let's have a recap. So in chapter 1, you've learned that Subscript provides like a shortcut for accessing methods without having a name. However, I warned you that shortcuts comes along with trade-offs. Unless you're using simple tasks such as accessing value of an array or dictionary, I don't recommend you to use Subscripts. If it's something simple, I recommend you to use computer property or a simple method. In the next lesson, let's learn how to encode and decode JSON to object by learning about Codable Protocol. See you in the next lesson.